As I was saying, I always thought I would rather die than lie, and not stand up for what's right. And um, I've always, like I said, had dreams and visions, and it's always stuck with me my whole entire life. Like, just to give a little bit of heritage about myself, my father's 100% pure Blackfoot Indian. Like, his people never knew slavery. As far as like my mom's side of the family, ancestors always been here in the Americas. My dad, his skin is very, very red, and they're very proud people. And he would always tell me that, as far as he come from a bloodline of kings, and he would always call me his princess because he used to talk about like his father as the elders, like say he was a chieftain, he was a king, and my father, he was, is a king in the dispensation of existence, as far as blood ancestry line. And he would always say that you are a princess, and, he taught me to be very, very proud, no matter what it is I do, to always keep my head up, no matter if I'm walking, no matter if I'm talking, no matter what it is I do, never look down, always look in front of you and look up to the sky. And it always resonated with me. And it's kind of crazy because I knew I was born between a war. Because, like I said, my father, them being very proud, like Blackfoot Indians, to whereas my mother's side of her family, like my great-grandmother, she's Haitian, and Creole. And, Creole comes from the French mixing with the black women, the black woman, the Hebrew woman, the African woman. And I really don't know too much about my great-grandmother's ancestry, but I know they were all very, very light-skinned, And that was due to the French slave masters that they had, And my great-grandmother used to tell me that when I was little that her mother came from Haiti, but her father was actually... I guess her father, or the man that she actually married, which would make my grandmother's father, that who she married was actually from Africa. And my great-grandmother would tell me that her husband was African and that he didn't really speak good English very well. But her father, my great-grandmother's father, the one whose mother came from Haiti, her father, my great-grandmother's father, was the actual French slave master, which means that my grandmother, when she was born, she was part, Haitian from her mother's side, African from her father's side, but also due to her mother's blood, she had French in her blood. So I just looked at our family was always very wild, diverse, you know what I'm saying? Like, and the women in my family had very special gifts. Like my mother, for instance, she has the ability to see when people are going to die. One thing that I have learned about her visions and gifts, that even though she was given the gift to see people before they die, she's never been able to stop anyone from dying. Like, I remember her telling me stories, and I've seen it and witnessed it with my own eyes, like with her own husband. She kept hearing a voice saying, "Don't let him go, don't let him go." And by the time she called out to him, he was too far gone down the road. And when I came to see his body, because I let my mom know that he was dead, basically he survived, like I say, I'm sorry, the war way back in the 80s or 70s. I don't know if that was the Vietnam War or what, but he survived that war to come home and get killed at the liquor store by a guy who stuck a screwdriver to his heart. And I don't mean to make this all like morbid and depressing or anything. I'm just shedding some insight as to my incarnation here. Like, it's been very hard for me adjusting to this era because I always felt like I didn't belong here, like the women in society today aren't really revered, like the way that our own people and other nationalities, how they look down upon us. Like they look down upon us, and it's so crazy because we are the mothers of civilization. Like, before us, there was no other, and we know that we came here and we was the original beings here. And I just don't see how I fit into this time today and make it even impossible for me to date or find a mate. I'm 32. I consider myself beautiful and talented and smart, and I have visions, and it's like crazy because I pretty much stick to myself, because it's like walking out here in this society today. It feels like a parallel universe. It doesn't feel real to me, nothing in this reality is real. It's also fictitious and just fake, and people look at me and they're like, you're too proud, and because I have a sense of my father's heritage, and because I have a sense of my mother's heritage, and because I remember past lives and have visions, and to some people, even as far as my own, because they're stuck in the Christian churches, they'll look at it as blasphemy if I say I know I'm a goddess incarnated in this dispensation of existence with a divine purpose, and they'll look at you like, you can't be a goddess. There's only one God. So, it pretty much keeps me single here. Not saying that I haven't had relationships. Not saying that I'm not a mother. It just makes it harder to actually connect with my own people who look at themselves as just mere mortals. And that's far from what I am. And like I said, even through my father's side of the family, he lets me know, baby, you're a princess in our tribe. And then in my mom's side of the family, going all the way back, as far as my great-grandmother, she would always tell us that her people was of royalty, as far as they was like oracles, had gifts to see in Hades, like as far as voodoo, and it's nothing bad like people think it is. And then it's crazy because then my great-great-grandfather, who my great-grandmother married, he was from the tribe of Judah. So it's like, I'm like, what about me? It seems so weird. It's like I have, the Haitian blood in me that's born off the islands, they have the gifts of manifesting thought into reality and seeing, and then coming from the tribe of Judah, which is, royalty under the Most High of the 12 tribes of Israel, and knowing in that dispensation I come from a royal bloodline, and then with my father having ancestry here and being from a royal bloodline, is just, it created this being right here, and I'm a mixture of a lot of different royal bloods and cultures that are all still considered black, you know what I'm saying, as far as the Indians and the Haitians, and then the Creoles, and then the African, and living here in the hills of Babylon, America. It's just so crazy, especially when you're psychic sensitive and you have visions, and it just feels like this world, it isn't right, like ever since I was little, I grew up here, I always knew that this dispensation, like it's just not for me, And I went my whole life so far searching for my soulmate and the man I'm supposed to be with, because I know he's a God incarnated in the flesh, as I know I am a goddess, and I don't even consider my children. Anybody asks, I say those are my heirs, those are my heiresses. You know what I'm saying? Like, those are my bloodline. That's my legacy. They live on, and I know that my girls, my heiresses, they have visions, and I'm trying to show them how to control their visions and their dreams, and to not grow up the way I grew up in a Christian kind of church and atmosphere, and not to believe that they have to seek outside of themselves, that everything is within them. And it's funny because if I go to my birth, I guess I should probably save that story for another video, but ever since I could remember, I always remembered having my guardian angels around me. And I know there were more than one, and I just came into the knowledge that there are actually 6 that are here with me today, and that I have no negative spirit guides in my presence. But I do have a soul contract, and that's with my mother 14 lifetimes ago. And when I researched that back, through the astral realm and Akashic records, I was enlightened to the fact that my soul tie with my mother comes from, like I said, 14 lifetimes ago, and that was basically like 3300 BC to 1300 BC. And it wasn't the most positive soul tie because I always took care of her. So it goes into this dispensation of today where I am.